Afternoon and welcome to the Rundown. I'm your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for today, the 14th of January. Kyle Rittenhouse boozes with the Proud Boys and flashes white power signs. Is anybody surprised? And the feds charged 2 Trump-loving cops who took selfies during the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Thomas Robertson and Jacob Flacker took photographs of themselves during the insurrection and bragged about their exploits on social media. And Trump, could he possibly consider it resigning, but refused because he doesn't trust Pence to pardon him? And an unarmed pastor in Texas is shot and killed by police. An ex-governor of Michigan, Snyder, is charged in the Flint water crisis. And the black female security guard terminated after punching a Trump supporter in viral video. Let's get to the news. Prosecutors are seeking an increase in restrictions on Kyle Rittenhouse, the $2 million bond agreement after he visited a bar in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin, to drink and take photos with Proud Boys. Rittenhouse, a cause to celebrate on the right, is charged with first-degree intentional homicide over the death of 2 protesters and the injury of a third during the summer of 2020's Black Lives Matter demonstrations. His lawyer argued he shot in self-defense. Wisconsin law allows for those underage to drink in the presence of a parent. An 18-year-old Rittenhouse arrived at the pub on January 5th with his mother, was loudly serenaded by the Proud Boys with songs from Aladdin and posed for photos while flashing a white power sign, making an okay with one hand. Sporting a t-shirt that read "free as fuck." Prosecutors filed a motion on Wednesday to amend his bond to prohibit him from drinking alcohol and visiting establishments where alcohol is served, socialization with known militia or white supremacist groups as well. Federal authorities have arrested and charged 2 Virginia police officers who took the selfie during the attack on the U.S. Capitol last week, when hundreds of supporters of outgoing President Donald Trump stormed the seats of the legislative branch in an attempt to overturn the results of the election. Thomas Robertson and Jacob Flacker, 2 members of the Rocky Mount Police Department in Virginia, took selfies in front of a statue of John Stark, a general in the Continental Army during the American Revolution. And Flacker are charged with knowingly entering and remaining in any restricted building or grounds without lawful authority, and violent entry or disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. A special agent with the U.S. Capitol Police wrote in a statement of facts that Robertson posted on social media that we actually attacked the government, and wrote that they took the fucking U.S. Capitol in one day. He also wrote that he was proud to have put skin in the game. The statement of facts also says that probable cause to believe that both defendants violated a law that makes it a crime to lawfully and knowingly utter loud, threatening, or abusive language or engage in disorderly or disruptive conduct at the U.S. Capitol when intended to impede or dispute or disrupt the orderly conduct of a session of Congress or either the House. Virtual federal court hearing in the Western District of Virginia on Wednesday afternoon, the federal district top prosecutor requested that both defendants be put on GPS monitors and an order telling them to stay away from the District of Columbia. A number of law enforcement officers took part in the attack on the U.S. Capitol, while a number of police officers are under investigation for assisting or coddling the rioters who violently overtook the building. On Wednesday, ABC News reported that President Donald Trump seriously considered resigning ahead of the end of his term in discussions with White House aides. In the end, however, he asked questions about the process. He decided against it. The reason he didn't trust that Mike Pence, the vice president, would pardon him the way that Ford pardoned Richard Nixon after he left. Trump and Pence have been on the outs for days now, being that Pence did not actually agree with the theory that he had the power to prevent the Electoral College vote from being counted for President-elect Joe Biden during the congressional certification. However, because of course Trump never visited his history class enough to know that that part of the Electoral College counting votes is ceremonial. It's not even real. But of course he wouldn't know that. But anyway, President Donald Trump also reportedly discussed pardoning himself. Legal advisors have warned him that it may not be allowed and would increase his exposure to lawsuits. Because of course, once again, from a person that really didn't educate himself too well, a pardon is not really a get out of jail free card. It's an admission of guilt. So therefore, you may not be charged criminally with a crime because of the pardon from the federal government, but civilly, you can always be charged because you are basically saying, yeah, I did it, I'm guilty. So civilly, you can get charged. If it's an avenue for you to get civilly charged, you could still get charged. On January 10th, Patrick Warren Sr., a pastor of Killeen, Texas, was reportedly shot and killed by police during a mental health check. Warren's family had noticed behavior changes in the man, so they reached out to a mental health professional, but police were dispatched instead. Warren was 52 years old and was unarmed at the time of the shooting. Warren was described as a nice guy by neighbors. He recently lost his job due to the pandemic, and his life insurance policy had expired about 3 months ago. Civil rights attorney Lee Merritt, who is defending Warren's family, it's funny how he always ends up popping up every time an unarmed black man gets shot. There goes Lee Merritt and the rest of the Action Network. I'm just saying. But anyway, Lee Merritt, who is defending Warren's family, released a statement on the incident on January 13th. Merritt, who also worked with the family of Tatiana Jefferson, the 28-year-old black woman who was killed by police in Fort Worth, Texas, after a neighbor called authorities to conduct a welfare check as well. The release revealed Warren was shot at least 3 times after being tased by police. A press release from the police referred to Warren as emotionally distressed upon their arrival at the home. Patrick's family began to notice the change in his behavior. They contacted a mental health professional for help, the statement read. The family also told that a mental health deputy was not available at the time, so officers with the Killeen Police Department were dispatched instead. When officers arrived, Patrick initially greeted the officers, but eventually asked him to leave the property. When Patrick's family protested, "Don't shoot," the officers fired his first shot into Patrick and redirected his weapon towards Patrick's wife. After the shooting, Warren was taken to the Call Army Medical Center, where he was later pronounced dead from his injuries. The press release from the police said that the Killeen Police Department Criminal Investigation Division and the Texas Rangers responded to the scene, and an investigation is ongoing, being led by the Texas Rangers. Warren's family is calling for the officers who committed the shooting to be fired as well as arrested. The officer has not been named at this time and will be placed on administrative leave. And once again, not surprised by that. But I will keep you updated on any new outbreaks of this story. Former Michigan Governor Rick Snyder was charged on Wednesday with willfully neglect of duty after an investigation of his decision that left Flint with lead-contaminated water. The charges related to an online court record are misdemeanors punishable by at least 1 year in jail and a $1,000 fine. I mean, really? You've damaged these kids and adults for life. Some of them will have learning disabilities and all kinds of stuff, and you're only going to get a year and $1,000? Wow. Anyway, these charges are groundbreaking. No governor or former governor in Michigan's 184-year history had been charged with crimes related to their time in office, according to the state archives. The alleged offense dated back in April 25th of 2014, when a Snyder-appointed emergency manager who was running the struggling minority black city carried out a money-saving decision to use the Flint River for water while a regional pipeline, Lake Huron, was under construction. The corrosive water somehow was not treated properly and released lead from old piping into homes in one of the worst man-made environmental disasters in U.S. history. Despite desperate pleas from residents holding jugs of discolored, smirky water, Snyder's administration took no significant action until doctors reported an elevated levels of lead in children about 18 months later. More than 9,700 lead service lines at homes had been replaced. Flint water, which now comes from the Detroit Regional Agency, gets good marks, although many distrust residents still use filters. The criminal investigation lasted 5 years under 2 teams of prosecutors who got misdemeanor convictions from 7. Separately, however, the state, Flint, a hospital, and the engineering firm have agreed to a $641 million settlement with residents over the water crisis, with $600 million coming from Michigan A judge said she hopes to decide by January 21st whether to grant preliminary approval other lawsuits, including one against the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, which is pending. And be sure to join Jay Wilson, Rebel Sun, The Official Campaign, Conscious TV, and Captivating Christian this and every Thursday at 6:45 Central Standard Time, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time for the Gentleman's Panel, where we are not afraid to go there and discuss an array of topics. See you there. Hey, this is Captivating Christian here to remind you to tune in to Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Politics and Wellness every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. The night before, Donald Trump supporters started a riot that stormed the U.S. Capitol last week. A black security guard says that she punched a white Trump supporter in self-defense. Based on that incident, she said she had been fired from her security job and facing criminal charges. According to the Atlanta Black Star, Washington, D.C. resident Ashanti Smith, age 28, is seen in a viral video clip punching a white woman who was identified as Teresa Dukes. Duke's 18-year-old daughter then took to social media to publicly shame her mother. Smith has started a GoFundMe campaign to raise $85,000 for her legal defense. She has so far raised over $120,000. Let's take a look at this clip.
Imagine watching unrest playing out in Washington and seeing your mother right in the middle of it all. Well, that's what happened to this teenage girl who turned on her own mother by identifying her online. She told Stephen Fabian how she wrestled with that decision.
This dramatic video is at the heart of a family torn apart by the strife gripping the nation. A woman is punched in the face by a police officer after an intense confrontation in Washington, D.C. the night before the Capitol siege. The video was posted online where it was seen by the bloodied woman's daughter. She was stunned to realize it was her mom because she had no idea her mother was in Washington to attend President Trump's Stop the Steal rally. What went through your mind when you realized, hey, that's mom?
It was definitely very unsettling, especially because we do have very different views.
18-year-old Helena Duke of Boston says she got so incensed she outed her mom with this text. Hi, Mom. Remember the time you told me I shouldn't go to BLM protests because they could get violent? This you? Helena says she also outed her aunt and uncle, who were also at the rally. Helena doesn't know if her family went to the Capitol where the mayhem unfolded, but she knows that her mom is furious with her and says she was kicked out of the house after attending a Black Lives Matter rally in Boston. Her mom sent her a message after the tweet.
She told me that I was throwing away my life, that my life is ruined, and that my sister's life is on my hands.
We also spoke to Ashanti Smith, the private security officer who threw the punch. She says the crowd surrounded her and called her the N-word.
They were calling me saying that we all deserve to die, hang.
Were you in fear for your safety, for your life in that moment?
I was in fear for my life. They were trying to take my items. They were trying to take my mask off my face. They were hitting me and attacking me.
Smith was charged with assault. She has been suspended from her job. She says she appreciates Helena Duke's support.
She has reached out to me, and her friends have been showing a lot of support.
She felt that she was being threatened, and she retaliated, and I don't think she did anything wrong.
And once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification button so you will never miss another news update. Have a great day. Peace.